Video is of another test of the Astronics vertical power primary power system, starting my T62 turbine engine. This time I've acquired a loaner PPS from Astronics to determine whether or not the problem that I've been having with the PPS terminating the start prematurely is perhaps associated with a fault in the PPS that I purchased. I made two small changes to the wiring since I did the last test, and that is I added a little fuse 5KP24A TVS diode to the starter solenoids coil, just to provide some suppression of the transient voltage associated with the starter's solenoids coil. And I also added a NTE brand 1N5400 suppression diode across the TE contactors coil, as you'll see when I show you the inside. So everything is now ready for the test. I just turned the temporary master switch on. And now I'll show you what the general layout is. Power comes from the battery into the avionics box, through the manual master switch, into the PPS, and then I'll show you what happens from there. To make this work, I've got 12 volts coming off of the battery here through this Leviton switch, which is my temporary starter switch, and that goes to the primary power system, to the appropriate contact that provides a signal for the PPS to energize the starter output jack. So here's the PPS. This is the NTE diode that I added. This is the TE contactor, so now the only load, once again, that is on the PPS is not the starter itself, but simply that coil, which has a 6 amps pull-in load and a 0.63 amp hold-in load. Again, this diode is to provide perhaps some useful protection with respect to the transient voltage associated with a collapsing coil field for the contactor. So now the power comes into the battery switch, and one branch goes to power the PPS. The other number 2 wire goes to the contactor, the TE contactor, and from there directly to the starter. So that's the layout, and now we're ready to give it a try. I have the voltmeter connected up to the primary power system's starter output terminal so that we can monitor the voltage at that terminal during the test. So the master switch is on, the start fuel solenoid is powered, which prevents fuel, in this case just some lubricating oil that's in there to keep it from being damaged by being turned over, from getting to the engine. The manual battery switch is now on, and we're ready to do the test in 3, 2, 1. Immediately trips. I'll try it again in 3, 2, 1. It is attempting to engage the starter. 3, 2, 1. But then it stops immediately. So I will report that to Astronics.